Here's a quote from the late great Carl Sagan from his book entitled The Demon Haunted World, Science as a Candle in the Dark. Kind of an odd thing to hear from a Jewish man a little bit, but I think realizing that superstition has been over, and in this book he talks about how superstition could easily come back to people, as well as a much more deflated way of life. Very simply, I often think of all it would take is one big catastrophe and we could wipe a lot of the grins off everybody's faces real quick. But this was written 25 years ago, and I believe it was the last book that he ever wrote. I remember Carl Sagan from the Cosmos episodes, which enlightened me on a lot of things, not even just about astronomy and so on, but the ancient Greeks and things that I was learning about and stuff, and how he was helping to put a lot of things all together with it. And if you're as old as I am, or have seen it in the old shows, he used to come on Johnny Carson and talk about billions and billions of galaxies and blow everybody's mind, and they'd ask him a question, and quite often his answer to it wouldn't be at all which way you thought he was going, and then he would finish and just blow everybody's mind again. He was quite a unique man. He said this again 25 years ago. See if this starts to ring true to anybody. MSNBC put this out as an article. I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries. We've seen a lot of that in our modern days. But he goes on. When awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues. When the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas, or knowledgeably question those in authority, when clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties are in decline. And unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media. The 30-second sound bites now down to just 10 seconds or less. Lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstitions, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance. Strangely, that seems to ring true a little bit here, and that was 25 years ago. He'd probably be the first guy that would tell people to put down your phones and quit getting onto things. And I'm actually making YouTube videos and so on, so that's got to be another issue. But I'm not trying to push pseudoscience in any way. In fact, those who have been with me a long time realize that I'm trying to push something that's showing in science that I've learned during my lifetime that even people today aren't being taught. Another thing that's interesting is that I graduated around about the time of 1984, and although it was a great Van Halen album, it was also about the same timing as George Orwell's famous novel. And they paid a lot of attention to it during the classes leading up to mine and my class and through right there, because they wanted to show you the difference of the way the world was from what it could be. We talked about Russia quite a bit. We talked about philosophy of the situation and everything. I remember it. You know, we'd had the Great Wall come down and stuff. Then the Soviet Union fell apart and so on. But that wasn't ever supposed to be any type of manual or book to use in any way. It's never worked for any society or civilization yet at any point. It might work as a small communal group, but it never works on a big situation. And you see people leaning that way. It's weird. It's almost like we took a totally different route from other people, and it ended up being a smooth way through the mountains, and we found our own path to lead us all the way to the promised land and situation, and got it all figured out. And somehow, I don't know how, but it seems like all of a sudden here in the last few years, we seem to have run that road that we're on back to a junction, which kind of leads back to that other crap that we made sure that we didn't even go down that road in a way before. But then there's also, by the way, another area turned to the right, and it goes in a totally different direction and away from that concept too. And I can't believe there are people in the car yelling to go right, to go left, to go left, go. It's concerning. What's odd about this is that 25 years ago, the man put this in a book where, just fears of things. What I realized about him was that he was an astronomer and so on, but he was also a credible philosopher and had a lot of that in him, and could take you a place in a few sentences, and then with the next few sentences could take you someplace totally else with that line of thinking that he knew you would be having after his first couple of sentences. It's almost like a great comedian, but working it in a different way. It's too bad he died the way that he did, but he lived a great long life. I hope you all live a great long life. I hope for our kids and our grandkids, they don't have to go through this bullshit, and they can experience some great space age situation going on, and togetherness, and everybody being happy about everything instead of trying to pick it all apart or to hate on the heralds of civilization. It's gotten quite disgusting. Peace.